Live from the podcast rooms in Glasgow, it's all about the Gers with Ricki, Neill, Derek Ferguson and Charlie Miller.
Hello and welcome to All About the Gers. It's myself, Ricki, Neill, Charlie Miller, and tonight we're joined by a good friend of mine and Charlie's as well, Stan Gordon. How you doing, Stan?
Aye, good.
Stanley. Do you know, Stanley. Derek, when I was telling Derek who we got filling in, he said, you might have got somebody good looking. So he's like, just come closer a wee bit, you're just a bit too far away. But everyone will know Stan for like Stonefield Tavern, and also he runs Follow We Will Legends podcast as well. So when's that coming back, Stan?
Hopefully 3 weeks. Lindsay had a wee bad fall and she broke her ankle. We were just waiting on her getting a wee bit better for getting up and downstairs and stuff. So I was talking to her today, so she's improving a good bit. So we're hoping to get up and going maybe 3 weeks' time.
Brilliant. This is the third season that the podcast's been running, but it's great, isn't it? It's like advertising various pubs and events that's coming up as well, isn't it?
Oh, aye, yeah. I know, it's been great. And
I've been on a couple of times, actually. I've been on a few times.
We've had Rangers Legends on all the time, and Charlie.
We've got Bell End on tonight.
But no, it's been great. So we're looking forward to getting back again. I say just took a wee step back there because of Lindsay. Obviously, we were hoping to start at the start of the season when that happened to Lindsay. But she's getting better.
Do you know, I seen her doing a wee bit on her Facebook again, chanting a few songs again, so it was good to see her up and singing again.
I know, and I felt terrible for her. She was asked to sing at the goalie's funeral in the church and at the crematorium, and it happened to be the night before when she had the fall. And she ended up, she just done a couple of recordings.
To be fair, her song was sad enough that day because it was obviously a recording, and that was sad enough.
Yeah, I know, but she was kind of heartbroken. She never got a chance to.
But her song was nice. Her song was nice at the funeral.
No, I mean, you were a long-term friend of the goalies as well, weren't you?
Aye, 25 years.
As long as that?
Aye, probably, aye.
It was a tough one, wasn't it? But but you've been doing quite a lot of kind of fundraising things for them as well over the past few weeks.
We've been out to Belfast there 2 Fridays ago, and what happened is it was a goalie that actually asked for it. Asked if he could get a bench done up at Shankill to remember him by, because he went up there all the time. And the boys who are there sorted him out, Big Titch and Whitey. Went and seen this for him. So they made up the bench, stainless steel, absolutely stunning.
Beautiful. It's really nice, isn't it?
And we done a wee opening night on the Friday, and then the boys put a wee gig on in the Shankill Rangers on the Friday night. A couple of singers on it, Sylvia Pavis and wee Tony Jones at Platoon. And they had another group up this, can't mind the name of them. They were absolutely fantastic though. Brilliant, great wee night.
Aye. Well, you've joined us in probably an excellent week. We're through at the Champions League, and we've got the Old Firm this weekend. But we'll start by going back to last week, because I guess you got the right score, Charlie.
Did you get it right?
1-0,
I said 1 each. No.
But what a game it was there.
I didn't fancy, to be honest. I don't know how you...
No, I fancied this, but I thought it was going to take us the extra time, maybe penalties with the fitness to kick in, but it was amazing because I've been big Derek up for Cardiff, he's for Belfast, but he stayed at mine for a couple of days because we're playing at Turnberry on the Thursday. So I went to Turnberry with a bit of a sore head. Do
you know, I have to wind you up a bit? Were you playing with Satty Singh?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was doing a wee charity quiz night on the Thursday night, and he said to me, "Tell that Charlie he's definitely no 22 handicap."
He's a wido.
He says, "You got on was it a par 5? You got on the green in 2."
Aye. Two miss hits. But no, it was a great day. Satty looks after us very well there. It was amazing, and the weather was magic. So it was a great day, and it was a good cause for the academy. So magic for Satty.
Well, do you know, I was hosting a wee quiz in Mr. Singh's on Thursday night, and it was for SAFA. It was for the Armed Forces charity, and I met a very inspirational man, a guy called Gary Jameson. I don't know if you've met him before.
No, well, if you want to go.
Really nice guy.
Aye.
He unfortunately got both his legs blown off and his arm, you know, but such a motivational guy. But you know, he came up to me at the end of the night and he's like, "Ricki," he says, "I watch your podcast every Monday night." He says, "But going to do us a favour, going to wind up my daughter Taylor, because she said he's too old to watch YouTube." You know, so Taylor, that's you told, right? He's allowed to watch this podcast.
He's a lovely guy, Gary. Fine guy.
But no, it was a great day. It was Scott Cunningham that organised it. You know, so it was a great day. But let's talk about last week. So you were there, Stan, weren't you? What was the atmosphere like?
Well, I'll tell you one right away. What happened? European trips never go the way they should. There were 4 days, so we left for Edinburgh, and your pal Tommy Don had organised the train tickets and the flights and whatever. So we got to Amsterdam, got to carry out. Train was leaving.
The essentials.
Train was leaving at 18 minutes past whatever it was, 1 or whatever. So we got with cargo, went away down, and the train was cancelled, going to Eindhoven. So we went out to the guard. He says, listen, what's happening here? We were waiting to get the train at 18 minutes past. He says, if you hurry up and go to platform 5, you've got 5 minutes. There's another one going in 5 minutes' time. So I grabbed the cargo. We up the stairs, down the elevator, right down. The train just pulls in and we jumped on the train, just go on it, get the cargo out, we're sitting. So after about an hour and a half, we're blaring away. And the guard come down and he went, where are you actually going? And we said, we're going to Eindhoven. He said, you're on the rank train, you've went an hour and a half the wrong way. He said, did you not notice there was nobody else on the train? There was nobody on the train but for us. We were just that busy blaring and we looked out. He says, you need to wait here half an hour, you're in the middle of nowhere, and we need to take you back to Amsterdam, and you need to get another train to Eindhoven, so get off to a good start.
Brilliant.
At least we won, that was the main thing.
Aye, no. The game was, what stadium? Charlie, you been to the stadium?
No, I've not been.
Have you been, Ricki?
No, I've not been there.
Some of the Eindhoven boys took us in the afternoon to the hospitality bit for a bite to eat, a bit of lunch, and they've got padded seats outside. Obviously, it was roasting, but you didn't need the padded seats on Tuesday and Wednesday. But you're sitting getting your lunch kind of outside. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Some setup.
So it's beautiful because it's got padded seats. All right, Stan.
No, heated seats. So you were at hospitality, Saturday. Don't get that either.
So, I'm mates with him in Facebook, and I don't know what you were eating the first night, by the way.
Believe it or not, it was nice.
Aye.
It was steak with prawns. I just the photo didn't look
I
good.
didn't do any justice.
At least it wasn't the kebab meat that it usually does.
Aye. But let's talk about the football, Charlie. Rangers 1-0. Jolak again scoring a goal. He's just getting better and better. But it came for Tillman as well, right at the back, didn't it?
No, 100%. That's what we didn't do against Union. When we played against Union, we didn't press high at all. We let him come on to us all the time, but it was good pressing with Tillman. Got a mistake out of him, and he could have been selfish, but he done the right thing and just squared it. It was a great feeling. Honestly, it was amazing. A great result. So happy.
See Tillman, how he held off that first player and still managed to do that nice turn, and then he was running up, and then that other player tried to basically take him right out, but he still just jumped over it and passed it on to, I think it was Lindstrom, and then Lindstrom to Barisic, then to Kent with it, and then back in for Lindstrom. But you know what I love about Lindstrom? He's willing to take a shot outside the box. I think I've been saying that to you for weeks, but we're getting too predictable. We're just running down the wings, crossing the ball in and hoping for the best, but he's taking shots for like 30-40 yards now. That's
what we need to do. I don't think we've still learned yet how to break down teams that defend in the Ibrox. I've always said, I don't know who I was talking to about it at Ibrox a couple of weeks ago there. I think what they should do is, see the B team, they should get 8 or 9 of them defending and let Rangers break them down at training all the time to learn them how to break down teams. And sometimes, we're playing with 4 at the back and they're playing with 6 across, with 2 in front of them. But we don't need 4 at the back. Right. So we're missing a man out, you know what I mean?
But it's difficult, you know. Sands could have been sent off on Saturday, you know. It was very, very lucky, but I don't think Medela they need to play 4 at the back, but Goldson was moving more into midfield, but I thought we played well enough. Obviously, the fans after 20 minutes we hadn't went ahead. I think it was just after that, and you could feel the intent, the pressure coming on the players, and it's difficult, but it was just good to get the goal, and it was a deflection, Stanley.
I know.
I was sitting with me saying it didn't take a deflection.
Aye.
But we'll take it. And then Kolak's goal, Cholak, good play again, and it was Scott Wright done well for the goal. We've done well for a couple of goals actually.
Aye.
So
I actually thought it was not a bad game.
Mm-hmm. Right. Do you know who I thought was really good? And we've been talking about him the past few weeks. And we're saying, because he can play in so many different positions, we thought it was we didn't think it was good for him to be able to do that. But see Sands last week as well.
Oh, I was brilliant against Eindhoven.
Against Eindhoven? Oh, aye. Positionally, great positionally. And I feared corners and free kicks against him. But we dealt with him okay. And we didn't deal with him at Ibrox.
I think McLaughlin's willing to come out for corners, but as well, isn't he?
Yeah, aye.
Saying that he's been punching him out quite a lot recently, which...
Aye.
But it was just an amazing result, and we're happy we're in the next round. So now we're into the group stages for a first time for a long time.
Charlie, sorry, I just butted right in there. Sorry about that, because what we're going to do is we're going to do a wee competition. It says up here, name 8 of the teams that Charlie played against in the Champions League, but it's actually name 5. All right, so name 5 of the teams that Charlie played against in the Champions League for Rangers.
It doesn't count Famagusta and Bloody Kafkas.
It doesn't count them.
Or Gothenburg, because they were qualifiers for.
So it doesn't count them, so I'm just going to edit that. So it's 5, and what we'll do is...
No, but it's a qualifying round, isn't it?
Oh, so it's going to be the section.
Group stages.
Group stages. And we'll give one of the prizes. Remember, Tom Miller gave us one of his books.
I wasn't here, remember.
Oh, well, you know, here, that's right. He filled in for you, didn't he? Well, he gave us a Barcelona 72 book that he's written. Okay. So we've got a couple of them, and 2 of them are actually signed with Colin Steen and Wee Bud. So that'll be the prize. All right, so you can just
landed with 30 in the pub.
Do you know, I actually seen him the other day and he was asking if you sold any. I was like, I don't know if I've actually told him where I put them, because I brought them in for you.
Oh, did you? So, I've actually not touched them yet, because I'm going to get Bud and Steenie to sign them, and then I'll sell them. I'm doing a gig with him in a couple of weeks, so I'll get them to sign them, and then I can, with the two goal scorers, the books will sell anybody for them.
I think
it's good. It's going to the Barca Bears anyway, the money. So.
No, of course.
Talking about gigs, by the way, I think you need to take me and Charlie down to Blackpool in September weekend. Just a wee sort of hint.
No, I'm not going. He's not invited me, so I'm not going.
I know. If John and Mick and that are listening, you know, that was a subtle hint there.
I never picked the Flares, Charlie, this time.
Anyway,
you're going to the European game, man. You're going down there.
Well, I hope you're getting tickets.
Aye, I've got one for me and you.
No, that's all right then.
Right, well, anyway, let's
that'll
talk.
Come to the day of the game and it'll be like, oh, sorry, Charlie. I said that to your other 10.
That'll be like me and Fergie in Seville. We watched it in a Japanese restaurant on my mobile phone.
Oh. Well, you could be much. Did you hear what Charlie done?
Aye, he was talking about the other week. Right, let's talk about the group we've got there. We've got Ajax, Liverpool, and Napoli. Charlie, you think that's quite a hard group?
I think it's a difficult group, but we're in the best tournament you can be in. So we're going to be against hard teams. It was either A or C, and I thought C was going to be worse. C would have been Bayern Munich, Barcelona, and Inter Milan.
Was that because there was only one more group?
A or C,
and it was that one. Right. So
I'd rather have A, but obviously PSV, they trounced Ajax, so they're obviously Ajax are losing the boy Anthony as well, and
85 million that winner.
I believe we can obviously hold our own against Ajax. Napoli takes care of itself. We can obviously at home we can get the fans behind the players and then get a good result there. But Liverpool, it's going to be difficult. We know that they're an outstanding team, but at Ibrox we can beat anybody.
Just what you said there, we were talking about earlier on. Anybody coming to Ibrox now? It's new. We've now got that fortress again. We lost that for so many years, but we've got it back now, haven't we?
Exactly. But you're looking here, the Italians are always difficult. You were talking about the wee quiz there for Charlie, that if anybody else could answer this or not. We've only ever beat one Italian team away from home in Europe.
Aye.
Who was it?
You just let me think for 2 minutes at least.
In fact, I've got 2 books, so that could be another question for the quiz.
Fiorentina?
No. I was at the game actually, and it was pissing the rain.
It wasn't Parma.
No. We drew with Parma.
Oh, we beat. It was No, I'm not. They played in maroon strips.
Yes.
They played them in the FA Cup. It was.
I'll give you want a wee clue.
I know who it is.
It was next to Pisa. We actually stayed
next to Pisa. All right. No, but I know the team. Big striker played up. He was a good player.
There's somebody saying Livorno.
There
you go.
Livorno.
Andy Campbell, right, you've won another book then.
It was 4-1 to.
We give them a doing that.
Aye.
There's Alex McCallum saying we beat them in penalties.
No, we beat them 4-1.
So he's talking garbage in.
Aye.
Alex.
No, he's thinking. Is he not thinking about? No, we Parma. They beat Parma there 2 legs, didn't we? We lost in Parma though.
It was Livorno.
That was Livorno. Right.
So Stan, what do you think of the group then? Do you think we can get out of this?
No, I don't think we'll stay in the Champions League. I'm hoping we get the 3rd spot and we can get into the Europa again. Because I mean, you're not expected. I don't know if you've seen it in the paper. They were telling you how much money the other 3 teams have spent in transfers and what their teams are worth compared to what we are. I think our money was 40 million or something. And honestly, they've spent more than that on one player. And that, as I say, the Italians is always a hard one. I mean, you played against Juventus, didn't you?
But that was a top Juventus team.
Aye.
They're much better than Napoli.
I can remember Bomber telling us that the Juventus game, that was the game that, remember Ricki with Alec Cleland?
Del Piero done the
turned
turn.
them outside in. And they were finishing their career at the time, Bomber and Vigilante. And the manager says, go and get warmed up. So the two of them were getting up and down the track side and they were doing their stretches and all that at the side of the park. So they can beat 4-1.
4-1, I got for school.
Aye, and Vigilante said to Bomber, listen, you're doing your badges and all that, and you're going to be Rangers, you're maybe going to end up the assistant, the reserve manager. He says, you've been doing all that kind of stuff, the coaching. He says, what would you do tonight different here? What would you do to change the game? And Bomber says, what would that do? He says, the first thing he would do, wouldn't bring any us two on, because this is nothing to do with us two tonight.
It's hard, man, because Ajax was the same when Gaza get sent off after 20 minutes and we were 4-0 down. Me and Durante came on and Durante scored a great goal. But you're like, oh no, because Ajax just keep the ball. It was 10 men as it is. You're not going to do nothing in the game, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, it's horrible. Trouncing.
No, do you know there's a few people asking about transfers? Do you think we'll get anybody in before Thursday? But I was looking on, there's rumours about Ross Barkley coming to either Rangers, Celtic and Everton. I think there's a couple of other teams. But he's now 2-1 favourite to come to Rangers.
Is that right?
Aye. I just checked just before I came on. So 2-1 to Rangers, 41 Everton and 71 to Celtic. And he was meant to have been seen in Glasgow with a Tubblicious or something.
No.
And where?
Tubblicious, that what you call it? Get a slush puppy.
Good player, by the way.
Good midfielder,
good addition to us,
I think we need a striker. I think we need another striker. The situation with Alfredo, it's not looking good. He's been linked with Fenerbahce today, I think it was. But I think we really need another striker.
Would you keep him? Would you give him a chance?
Yeah, if he's going to be fit and he's going to get his seat done and do what he done last season and the last couple of seasons when he's been behaving on the pitch and that as well. But some of his antics the last couple of weeks haven't been great, obviously, because he's been a great player for us. But if he's going to keep on trying to take a mickey, then he has to go. And Giovanni won't stand for it. I know that. I know the way the Dutch work. So
you know yourself more than me do. If he's upset in the dressing room, it's
difficult to come back.
Aye.
The fact it was some of the senior players that also went to the manager and actually brought it to his attention, so it's not just the manager that's actually done this, it's some of the senior players that have said this. So but we'll move on. Someone else here, Matt Weir, is saying, great show, Ricki. What do you think about the ticket prices? How much longer do you think fans can keep stretching without payment plans from the club? Families stretched, especially with the current climate. And I was actually going to talk about this because I think they were taking something like between £150 up to £180 out people's accounts in the winter. The Rangers fans have been very loyal over the past 10 years, so
they've carried the club through. So a wee bit of leeway would be good, obviously, but the club see a way to make money again, obviously, because of the Champions League. But I think 60 quid a ticket is very expensive. I really do.
But Stan, see if we want to compete in this Champions League against teams like that, is this the kind of money that we need to start paying?
No, I think it's terrible what they're doing, to be honest with you. As you know, I'm in hospitality, and the prices that they're looking for European games, you could go to Spain for 2 weeks holiday. You go to watch a game on a Wednesday or Tuesday night, and
it's not great, but I think it should be 30, 40 quid or something. I know it's the top of the tree as in the Champions League, but
I could see the point a couple of seasons ago when we were struggling, but we've took some money in this season. The run we had in Europe last year, our season ticket money. You've got Steven Gerrard leaving. I think it was 5 million or something. We
sold Patterson.
Sold Patterson for 12. We sold Aribo for 8. Bassey for 19. And we've had a lot of good sponsorship, man. And the strips they're bringing a new strip every week.
Aye.
And the money they've took in for that. So they can't complain that they're desperate for money. No, they definitely can't.
No, but the fans are always putting their on the pocket anyway. So
no.
Just if we sign Ronaldo,
or Suarez,
or Ronaldo signing, how many strips is that going to sell?
I think the fans will be a wee bit more happier if they invest it in players. And I was saying that on one of my pages on Facebook. And if they invest, the fans will be happy. But see if they don't, look what happened last season at the end of the season there. We never had a striker. We played in a UEFA Cup final with a recognised centre forward. And people say, oh, we've got a good squad now, but we haven't got a big enough squad.
We definitely need a striker.
But we want a good bench, Charlie. You want to play these games that you're bringing a guy on like for like.
But obviously,
and we've never had that. We never had that.
The Carlos situation obviously doesn't look great for him because he didn't even come on and we didn't play with Tane Cholak Calf, and the obviously replacement you'd have thought would have been Sakala to go through the middle and he didn't even get on. So obviously that's no looking great either.
There's David Morrison online saying, "Do you think we'll sign anyone before Thursday?" But you're looking for a striker, Charlie. What about yourself, Stan?
I would like to see the boy Battler there if it's true. He's 21. I'd like to see that. And obviously, if Morelos is going to go late in the transfer one, they'd like to see a centre forward.
Well, no, I'd rather have a striker, and Batley is a good player. But I think if you're going to bring Batley in, then where does Lawrence play? Does he get dropped to the bench? And he started well, Lawrence. So I would go for a striker before I'd go for Batley, to be honest with you.
But Lawrence can drop into the beside.
I know, but you want him further forward. You want him playing up.
No, I know that. I know. But he can drop in there. And I don't know, can Batley play at Alain?
But we're not needing any more of them. So if Batley's going to, because you've got Sands, that's what he really does play. And this boy's going to be hard to put him at the team because he's been playing really well. And
at the back though, Charlie.
I know, but he'll be a good sitting midfield player. That's where he'll play because he'll get about the pitch. He'll tackle. He's actually decent in the ball. But obviously he's behind Lundstrom now because Lundstrom's playing very good every week. And
I'd like to see somebody beside Lundstrom. If
maybe I should hang it. But Davies comes back in and then you put in Sands or Davis or whatever, but
Jack for me when he's fit, the best midfielder, but the boy can't stay
Lundstrom's
fit.
our best midfielder.
I know, but
definitely.
I thought when Jack had a wee run of games, he was brilliant.
Jack played. I don't get me wrong, Jack, but it looks as if when Jack last season he played there all the games when he came back from injury and he's played, and it looks as if it's kind of set him back a wee bit because he'd been out for so long. You know what I mean? And maybe 4 weeks off. And he's not had enough time to kind of rest and recuperate and get back.
I know. See, last year, Charlie, when Jack was out, I think he was missed big time.
100%. That's what I'm saying.
I think this season we've not noticed it as much so far.
As much because I've had obviously Tillman's come in and looks decent. Lawrence and things like that, but I don't think we've been really tested in the league yet. Obviously, the European game we were, but at Easter Road, I thought Ryan Jack looked as if he was struggling if he wasn't fit.
He was.
Yeah.
He looked as if he was.
He doesn't look fit. Kamara had a great game midweek.
Kamara done well. I think Kamara's a great player. It's just obviously the situation with him. It looks as if he's off ski as well, isn't it? And
that's what I was about to say. Adam Wilson online just said Kamara's meant to be going as well. He'd be happy to sell, especially with Jack Davies, Lundstrom, and Sands to back him up. So, but I think you're right. See, when you look at the amount, we've actually got. I've printed off a list here. We've got 20 fixtures before the World Cup break finishes. So that's right up until the 12th of November. So we definitely need to bolster the squad. But see, for the League Cup and the Scottish Cup, do you think we should start bringing in boys for the B team if we're going to try and take the Champions League seriously, Charlie?
I think you just play. They've done it last season. We played more games than anybody last season. So
I think
we just play the. We've got obviously try and add like say Lowry's and that in the team 100%, but you want to win the treble, you want to win everything. I
think that's why we should be investing in a couple other players in the squad, because over the season you definitely need it, and we've seen it last season.
Well, that's where the striker comes in. But we must have some young boys that, other than Lowry, because he's injured and he obviously a terrible tackle last week. But we must have other ones who are close. We play Zach Lovelace. Surely he's
meant to be good. I've never seen him, but he's meant to be really good.
Just come back to Lowry. I was gutted when I seen that challenge last week. That was terrific, wasn't
it? Wasn't it great? But harden them up.
Aye.
When you look, going back to what we were saying, and look at the UEFA Cup final there, right? See, when you looked at our bench at the end of the season to go to a final, it was poor.
Well, Ramsey and Sakala, so it wasn't that bad, you know what I mean?
But Ramsey wasn't fit. They pushed him in there, and there was Roof.
But Ramsey wasn't. Roof was brilliant when he came on as well. Roof nearly won it for us.
After he played his 10 minutes or 15 minutes,
he nearly won it.
He was injured again. I know. But
that's the thing.
You need.
No, we need somebody.
You could imagine him fit.
Well, imagine Morelos fit in that final. Would have won that final, no doubt about it.
Oh, without a doubt.
Oh no. Still some experience with it.
But that's how I think we definitely need some bodies in, and we've got the money now to do it. I thought if we'd have went into the Europa there and we wouldn't have qualified, I thought they'll just let the window go now and see how they're maybe freshen up a wee bit at Christmas. But now that we've got that injection of money, I think we should to do well in the Champions League and do well still in the league. I think we need to invest.
I think we only sign players that are better than we've got. Even if it's one, it has to be one that just comes straight into the team and plays. There's no use signing one or two that are fringe players. It has to be bang that are going to hit the ground running and going to be better than what we've got.
Aye, definitely.
You've been saying that for a few weeks as well, weren't you? About the signings we brought in, you kept on saying, I hope we bought quality, not just quantity.
And we're beginning to see the quality with Tillman and Lawrence, especially. Matondo is a wee bit. He's not showed as much in a few of the league games. And
I've been surprised with him because
Turkish boy.
I've been surprised with Matondo because Bomber told me that was the guy to watch. He was lightning and he light up eyebrows, but he's maybe one of the guys that's taking a wee bit of time to settle in.
That's what happens. It takes time.
He's like a young boy, isn't he?
Of course.
20 or 19 or something.
You surprised that Ridvan not been getting many starts as well?
I didn't see the game against Kilmarnock and he had struggled, unfortunately, but it's going to be a big test.
He's a young boy as well, but he was getting mega praises. So.
The thing for me is a guy at 21 who's playing for Besiktas first team, who's got a few caps for the national team, I think. Why is he no attracting interest for the top leagues, if you know what I mean? That's my only worry. I don't know if they were kind of just desperate to get him out or because the Rangers offered a good money for him, you know what I mean? £5 million, a lot of money for Rangers. But in England, it's no much at all.
What do you think about this World Cup break, Stan? It's nearly 6-7 weeks now or something like that. It's quite a long time.
It's horrible, especially if you want a pub.
It's good if you're in the pub.
Watch though, because nothing is out to watch.
They're good times.
Games on.
They're good times, but
honestly, I've got to put my hand up. I've just the interest in
nobody goes out to
international football now.
Nobody goes out to drinking yours because they have to phone the water board how weak your beer is. Now, to be fair, the World Cup at that time of year is just madness, but it's money. It's all about money, and that's all it is. And how Qatar ever go it, I'll never know, because countries like Australia have never had it, who would be an amazing place to have a World Cup. But I can't believe England's not had it since '66. I really can't believe it. But
I know myself. I look at the fixtures coming up this year. That's Scotland for 2 weeks, and everybody's all bored in the pub and the Rangers.
Oh, 100%. I get that.
Charlie, what will happen to the Rangers players then? Obviously, some will be going away for the World Cup, but see the rest of them, will they still be going to Ibrox for training or what? Or just...
I've never obviously done this before, but I'll probably be like the international break now, won't it? It'll be the international break. Well, the winter break we've had.
Yeah.
So I'd imagine we'll get a couple of weeks off and then back in another pre-season practically again. Because it's 7 weeks, isn't it?
So it's a long time, isn't it? I've never experienced that. It's about 6 or 7 weeks.
Because we don't start again until the 26th of December, is it something
I think it's just before that. I think it's just the middle of December. Because I think that's when VAR starts back.
21st of December, is it?
Is it 17th?
But it's a long time. Let's see. What's Calvin? I was about to say Calvin Bassett. It's Calvin Bennett. It would cost about 10 to 12 million to bring in a starter that's better or as good as our best players. I'm not sure the board are willing to pay that at this stage.
Aye, well, he's got a point there, but if I've got the money lying there and it's going to kick us on to the next level and get us into the next stage of the Champions League, then you do it. But it doesn't guarantee you, of course, it doesn't. But
I think that's where Ross Walton's done quite well, because he brought quality in for no paying a lot of money out, Charlie. When you look at us getting the boy Tom Lawrence, I mean, I've not heard a Rangers fan or anybody speaking that they don't think he's a crack player.
Technically very good.
Tillman and loan you're going to get for 4 or 5 million, and we'll definitely will buy him. So he's brought boys in there. It's no cost a lot of money, and they're proving that they're good.
No, 100%.
Obviously, the scouts are doing their job.
A striker situation is always difficult. That's always. Although we get Alfredo for £1 million, we're not going to get another Alfredo for £1 million. It's not possible. And he was obviously a young kid and with potential, and he done really well. But if we want somebody who's going to be better than Kolak, we're going to have to pay big money.
Well, I mean, if you look at the way people are looking at Morelos, right? 2 seasons ago, 3 seasons ago, you weren't wanting to let him go for any less than 15 to 20 million, right? But if he does go now, club's going to get a bargain, because Rangers will need to sell him now, and he's only got a year left in his contract, and he's not wanting to sign another contract, so they'll let him go for buttons. So that can happen for us. We could be the scouts could be looking about and saying, look, this boy's no signing a contract with AC Milan for talks with a chance of getting him because he's out the door. And the likes of Ross Bartlett, then you're picking him up free if you got him. Just paying his wage, he's a big wage.
See Bomber and the scouts, how often are they away, like looking at other
Weekly,
players?
I think.
Bomber's area is round about Blackpool, Bolton, Fleetwood.
Just to run about the Gallant Pioneer then.
No, that's his kind of, but he's doing there.
No, but does he not go to France a lot? I'm sure he go. I thought he went to France quite a lot.
Not as much now, Charlie. He does all that kind of area. But he maybe goes down there on a Friday and he'll take a Friday night game in, and then he'll take a Saturday and a Sunday. Aye.
There's Andy Campbell. Andy Campbell was talking about what he was talking about earlier on. I think our squad costs £40 million or so, and Liverpool's is 350 million. So that shows you the kind of difference.
100%. They can do that because of the money in that Premier League, which is terrible. We get 2 million for winning the league a year before or whatever. We got 2 million for winning the league a couple of years ago. They get 140 million for just starting in the league.
And the team that goes down get 99 million or something.
Because it's a parachute payment.
Isn't it?
So you get more than that.
And that's why it's a must for us for a Champions League. It was something like when we beat the team before Eindhoven there. We get something like 4 million for beating them.
Union.
And then the gate money on top of that. And then we go and I think it was another 6 million for getting past Eindhoven plus the gate money. So that's a lot of money right away.
It's magic for us.
Massive.
Right. Back to league football. Rangers and Ross County. 4-0.
What did I say?
I don't know. I forgot. Did you say 4-0?
I don't know if I said 4 or 5.
I said, well, do you know I put a bet on for 5 and see when Arsfield went and they would try to chip that over. Right. That would have won me like £100 or something. I'll need to check last week's show. You might have said 5.
I think I say 5 every week apart from the Eindhoven game.
But you know, you had the game in Saturday. You know, since we started this podcast every week, we've been talking about Tillman and saying he's good for the first 20 minutes. I think the past 2 games.
He's getting fatter.
No, I agree. I think he burnt himself out the first couple of games. He just went
don't
full
think
energy, and you went, he's brilliant.
I just don't think he was fit, get match fitness yet. I think that was his thing because you try to bust your ass to give an impression of you can play and whatever. And you could see he could play. There was no doubt about that. But I think after about 20 minutes, he burnt himself out. He just looked as if he was knackered and no fit yet. But the more games you play, the only way you get fit is if you play games, and that's the problem with Alfredo, because you need to play matches. And people say play reserve matches and that, but they're not the same. It's not the same pace. It's not the same playing in the atmosphere of full stadiums and the adrenaline and that. So it's difficult. But if we're going to have Alfredo still here, then we have to get him back in there somehow. You know.
How do you fit him in when Cholak's doing so well?
Of course, that's.
He's got to fight. He's got to fight you back in.
Can they put 2 up top?
No, because Cholak's he's not a target man the way Haley was playing after Coisty. He's a poacher.
But his link up plays very good. His link up plays very good. So and I think he could be a good foil for Alfredo, because Alfredo wants to go everywhere, but under Giovanni it looks as if he's kind of just played more in the central area. But Alfredo likes to go down the line and then maybe they work for Colac, you know what I mean? But then what do you do? Do you play free at the back at Ibrox against your Ross Counties, things like that, and play 2 up? Then I
think they should.
Then maybe that's the way you do it. But
how many weeks ago was that I said to you, didn't fancy Colac?
I know.
And because I think maybe, I don't know about yourself, the reason I didn't fancy him to start with, I didn't think he was doing enough. Because what you said there, the new you're watching Morelos goes looking for the ball and he hods it up and he puts it to both wings and gets himself back in. And he's not that type of player. And we've just been used to depending on Morelos and doing what he's doing. He's come back that boy different. But he gets a chance. And you give him a chance and you give Morelos a chance, you'd say the boy's going to score more, aren't you? Because he knows how to put the ball in the pocket.
He knows how to put the ball in the net. But as I say, his link-up plays very good. And he has to be our focal point. You know what I mean? So it's difficult for me. You don't want him coming towards the ball up, because then it narrows the pitch down. You know what I mean? So you want him as high as possible so we can play up to him, drop it in the midfield, and then get it wide. You know?
Yeah. When he turned to score that goal on Saturday, there he knows where the goals is. He's not even looked. He's turned banging this away.
That was good. That was a great goal, actually.
I think see the kind of one touch play outside the box as well. Now they're all starting to gel. They all know where each other is. You know, football's excellent.
Aye.
That was good at points. You could hear the frustration for the fans after 20 minutes, but after that, when we get a goal, it was easy. I don't even think Ross County had a shot.
I think Cholak was hoping he was kept on for his hat trick here.
I know. I mean, it just shows you what Charlie said. He took him off and we played without a centre forward and ended up again.
No, I think that's the end of Sakala, to be honest with you.
Aye.
Unless Giovanni just sees him as an out-and-out winger.
It's a strange one. They never brought him on. You're right, Stan. I was going to ask you something because you're always one on Facebook, and you have been for the past few years for your criticism against Tavernier.
Aye.
Has it changed?
I'll tell you something, right? He's had a couple of good seasons, to be fair, right? But
the guy's been ridiculous. The guy's
if I'm at a game and all the boys are watching the game in the pub and Tavernier scores, my phone just pings, and it's all the boys because they know I criticised them. But to be fair, when I was criticising him, he wasn't defending. He's great going forward, and he wasn't defending. And Charlie and other guys that were involved in football kept saying to me, "That's the modern fullbacks."
That's the way you play nowadays.
They don't play the way I watched last Andy Jardine, Steinbach, and Jimmy Nicholl and Gary Stevens and guys like that. They didn't get forward as much as the modern day football player. But no, he's proved me wrong. He's been great. I
have to admit, a couple of seasons ago, I felt the same as well, Stan. But a lot of times, I actually felt that people weren't covering him.
He gives us so much, man. He gives us so much. You see it, and the guy gets some amount of abuse sometimes, and he just gets the ball, plays. It doesn't shirk away from his responsibilities. The guy gets the ball. If he makes a mistake, he gets the ball again, and he goes again. There's a lot of people that would have finished, definitely. And I think he's been a wonderful sign. I think he's been a brilliant signing, actually.
60 goals he's got now.
He's ridiculous. He's been involved in 147 goals and assists for us or something like that.
I noticed a wee difference last season. See what you were saying there with people no covering for him. See when Ryan Jack get injured, he wasn't the same. Because see, when he was getting forward, Jack was going to the right and filling that space in.
Jack were obviously covering the area.
But when Jack got injured, that stopped. Mm-hmm. And you could see it was dodgy a wee bit. I mean...
But it's difficult because a lot of teams now, and especially in Europe, they double up on him. So it's hard for him to actually get out. When the ball's coming to his side all the time, he's got two guys on him, or two guys... He's not, as he says, defensively is not his strongest point, but he can defend well. He's a fit boy, but when they've got two on him, he's going to struggle at times. You know what I mean?
I'll get back to one in particular that I criticised him, and that was one of the ones that when I was arguing with everybody in the pub about him, was against Hibs in the cup final. The boy that played with Celtic, Hibs deliberately put him out wide left on Tav, and he took Tav to the cleaners.
But the thing is, you're saying that. I remember the cup final. And Tav was running up and down the pitch as well, trying to create goals and all that, and Stokes was just on his side. And then if anything goes wrong, Tav's having to run back 50, 60, 70 yards, and that lazy gets just standing there.
And he's not the fastest, but
but somebody else should have went and stood on him. That's the thing.
Right, I'll move on. I've started a wee argument here. There's Stuart Duncan saying hi, Charlie, and then Alex Rogers saying, "Come on, Stan, Charlie's bullying you."
Who's that?
Stuart Duncan and Alex Rogers. I'm just about to start talking about the Old Firm, but Graham Craig saying, would you get Dykes from QPR? I wanted him before he went down there, but maybe not now.
I don't fancy him. I really, but it's up to obviously.
Another one they mentioned there was Shea Adams.
He's got to cost about 15 million or something. No chance of getting him. And I don't think I would rather have Colak, to be honest with you.
Yeah, aye. No, I agree with you. Right. But even to get Dykes now, Ricki, the money we'd pay for him, and he's not any better than what we've got, really, in my opinion, anyway.
Right, we're moving on to the Old Firm. There's Mitch's Gracias saying he doesn't fear Saturday's game at all. We've played far better teams than Ross County and Dundee United in the last few weeks. Time to put them in their place. But coming to that, and we don't normally talk about the other side, but no team in the SPFL should be getting beaten 9-0, Charlie.
I actually watched a bit yesterday because I was doing it coaching a few games, and then I went home because my own end game only playing until 2 o'clock. So I went in and watched it, and Dundee United nearly scored to make it 1-0 early doors. And then Joe Hart done his hair or something like that, and he did some gel on his hair or something. That was a great save. But they played so open. Dundee United, I think obviously just wanted to go for it, but they looked sharp, Celtic, to be fair. But defensively, I think they're still weak. I really do. And I still think the first goal was miles offside. Kyogo's stuns, miles offside.
I thought that he started off
and then it just runs around and then they just square it. Offside should be offside. I hate that rule, but he's clever and it wasn't offside, obviously, with these rules. But I think Celtic haven't played against anybody strong yet. They've played against Hearts with 8 players they'd rested for the Zurich game and won 2-0. Hearts got 2 men sent off as well. But I think coming against us, it's a different animal. I think we're strong. They're strong. Don't get me wrong. They're strong. They're fit. They're physical. They look good, but so do we. So it'll be a difficult game for both teams.
I think, Stan, both teams are a wee bit ropey in defence now, but we're good for middle up front. Do you think it's going to be a high scoring game on Saturday?
I don't know. I can't handle them in Belfast. I'll be hiding in the toilet somewhere. I can't watch them. Oh no. Honestly, I wish we'd never played them. I can't take them.
I love them.
Do you? Oh no.
Still love playing them. It's been amazing. So it was, but I think it'll be a hard game for both teams, and I think we can win. 100%. I think we can win because they're playing against Kents, and they're playing against Lundstroms, and they're playing against Goldses and Taverniers. No disrespect to the other teams they're playing against. They're not on the same level as these guys, So.
And Charlie, I think some of the Rangers team now know what it means to play for Rangers, didn't it? Lundstrom just went right to his heart.
100%.
Aye. No, 100%. I know, and the young boys are learning now. I know they're coming, the boy Tillman and stuff like that. But I mean, that's another thing. I know we've got a few guys making their debut at Parkhead too. Come Saturday.
Well,
it's quite daunting. You've played in it, and
it's great. Just go and beat them and then send them home.
Aye. There's Lindsay's watching, so hi, Lindsay. Hope you're getting better. Because you'll need to. There's about 5 flights of stairs to get up into your podcast room. Charlie, I was going to talk about the tickets as well, because obviously we're getting less than 1,000 tickets into Parkhead. Would you rather it went back to what it used to be? Because it used to be something like 7,500 tickets, wasn't it?
My problem is that they get behind the goal. It's been my problem all the time. They get the full end and we get still, even if 7,500, we're shoved in that corner.
Aye.
It's not as unnerving for their players as it is for our players when they've got that full stand at Ibrox. We're stuck in a corner.
No, you're right.
But I think the games are better for when the 2 sets of fans
Experience.
are in. But why don't we just shove them in half of the Brimlin and half of the main stand or something like that and see how they like it?
What's it like playing at Parkhead?
It was a bit smelly, but
I can see this in the Sun paper tomorrow.
No, it was great atmosphere. It was great to play. And I think I only played in the League Cup quarter final when Coyce scored. My first one was at Hampden, and Celtic were playing at Hampden. We beat them 3-1.
That's right.
So that was great. We played them the first game back at Parkhead in the League Cup quarter final.
You'd actually had a good game like that.
No, I didn't. Thanks a lot.
Well done, Charlie.
Nice,
what was it like in your first Old Firm game? What was it like? I know, but what was the build up like the night before? Could you sleep and all that?
We play for Rangers. You expect to win. It doesn't make a difference. I was brought up that way, as in for a 16-year-old or 14, 15, expecting to beat Celtic. And the first team before I went, were winning against Celtic. So it was just a natural progression. We beat them in reserves most of the time. So it was just what we expected to do. Don't get me wrong, it was adrenaline was great, pumping, got to the game, but could I sleep? I could always sleep, definitely, but I couldn't wait for the game.
What were the celebrations like after it when you won?
I can't remember.
Can you see the podcast?
I see when you're getting back to the crowd there. I remember when I was younger going to see the Rangers at Parkhead, and we used to get a quarter of what it was called the jungle, and that full end, and half of the stand, the main stand,
and then the full Rangers end,
and the full Rangers end, and that's what you call an atmosphere.
Well, because Celtic used to get the full Brimlin.
That's right.
The enclosure. And the half of the main stand.
Half of the enclosure, half of the main stand, and a bit of the centenary stand. They used to get, and we used to get the same, and that was a better atmosphere because it's kind of half and half. I know your team's at home and you're going to Parkhead, you're away from home, but you maybe had 25,000, 30,000 Rangers fans.
I think that was the case though when teams were getting half the gates. See when teams came to Ibrox or
Parkhead, it made a difference.
So teams were So they were making them sell their tickets then. So half the gate, well, if you're getting half a Rangers Stadium, so you sell the bloody tickets and then you get the money. But obviously, like Dundee United, Rangers had to change that and Celtic had to change that because, like, look at Ross County on Saturday. I think there was 60 people there.
That was shocking, wasn't it?
There's Alex McCallum saying it was 50-50 back in the 40s. He said back in the 70s, so I'm just making them up.
No, it wasn't 50-50, but it was maybe 60-40, I would say. But, 60-40.
We're quickly running out of time as normal. That's us over 45 minutes already. But Adam Wilson saying, how do you think we'll approach the game on Saturday? Do you think we'll sit in and go for it? Sit in or go for it? Or personally, he thinks we need to just get at them, Charlie? How would you up?
Just play the way we play against PSV earlier, right? We'll just play our game, and obviously they'll come out flying as you usually try and do. And then if we get past that 30 minutes of them, get them huffing and puffing, then I think they can beat them. Definitely, I think they can beat them. But it'll be difficult. Everybody has to play as well as they did against Eindhoven, and I'm sure they will. Giovanni will not go there as open as we were last January anyway.
Aye, Stan, predictions for Saturday then?
I'll be happy with a draw.
Aye, I want to win it. I know you want to win it, but
I want to win it, but I'd be very disappointed getting a defeat with McCann. I don't sleep for about 3 days after the anger, but I would take a draw and then it would say we're doing a wee bit.
I'll go 2-1 Rangers.
Aye, I'll go 3-1. 3-1 Rangers.
2 each.
There you go. Right, Stan, thank you very much for filling in for Fergie. I don't know if he's watching. He said he was maybe going to watch tonight, but he did slag you, saying that you want to get
full of red wine in Italy.
Well, I seen a picture of him when we lose, so it wasn't good.
How did his game go? How did his game go?
I don't know, actually. I don't know. Was he?
Derek was spaghetti bolognese or he's facing him.
I know. No, he was only going it Sunday, wasn't he? So I don't know if he would have seen the game
but
anyway.
he's no matched himself in here.
But if you're watching, I hope you're having a great time, and hopefully see you next week. He should be back next week. He's only away for a few days, isn't he? But no, just another great podcast. And remember, we are looking for sponsors as well. So if you want to be part of the show, you can actually come in the show as well. But we're going to be getting a website up soon as well. So you'll have a web page and everything. All right, but Stan, what's on in Stonefield Tavern this weekend?
It's all firmament. So
and he's doing a bunk to Belfast.
Aye. No, it'll be a busy weekend.
Aye.
A lot of boys up for down south. And we're kind of English Rangers fans. Will be up supporting us, so it'll be good.
What's happening over in Belfast then?
I could just decided with Gers for a wee jaunt out the road. Everything, aye.
Right, Charlie. It's been another good show. It's good to have Stan on, wasn't it?
It was great to have Stan on. But beat it home, pal. I think I'm running them home as well. Is to get the bus?
Good. Right, thanks again, Stan.
It was good, Stan. Thank you very much.
I enjoyed it.
Aye, so make sure you follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, everything, and click the notifications button so that you can see our podcast every week. But thanks again, and we'll see you next week.
Cheers, guys.